Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today is another trying to fix things around the home. So as and when things go faulty or need changing or break, etc., then I film each one of them, piece them all together, and then release them as a video with various different fixes in. So they're all super quick fixes, and we're going to start this one with this Targ watch here. So if you can have a look at the second hand, can you see it's going round? Every, I don't know, about 3 seconds, and then it will pause for 3 seconds, and that's because the battery is depleted, and it's just letting you know that you need to change the battery. So of course you can send this off to Targ, they will do a pressure test and charge you a huge amount of money for it, or if it's unlikely that you're going to take it down to the deep depths of 200 meters or whatever this watch is rated to, then I tend to just change the batteries myself, because I do wear my watches in the sea, but I rarely go deeper than 1 meter. So I've never had a problem with them leaking. Even if this was to leak, you can buy the movements for around £30 and they're not that hard to change anyway. So I'd rather save the £200 or £300 that Targ's going to charge to do it. So to make it easier for myself, what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm just going to undo one side of the bracelet just to open it up. You can see that this unscrews at the back. Can you see these little notches? So I've got this special little tool here from my cheap Chinese watchmaking toolkit. And then we're going to see what battery it is. Hopefully I do have one. I'm going to place it in, put a tiny bit of grease back around the rubber, tighten up the back, and then hopefully it will be okay. I won't be pressure testing it, but I'm sure it will still be waterproof, even though I'm not pressure testing it. So let's get started. I have got one, 364, so let's pop it in, and then I need to put this little cover on. Let's just see if it's ticking normally. Yeah, there we go, look, every second again. Right, so now that's ticking normally. I just need to pop this back in. Now it does have to go a certain way. If you look, there's 3 little prongs. So if you don't get lucky on the first time, just rotate it round a third and then rotate it again, and after 3 attempts you will get it. Then I'm just going to put a tiny bit of grease around the O-ring, screw the back up, just nip it up and then just give it a little twist to tighten it, and that'll be it, job done. One working watch, so I just need to set it to the correct time. Actually, do you know what? It must have been a little bit fast before, because it is the correct time. So that is it, ticking nicely. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have this thermostatic valve here, and basically what's happened is these have been in for around 6 years, and now it's just completely come off. So it's probably a combination of the plastic going brittle over the years. You can see that basically there's only one bit left here. These are all broken because of the constant heating and cooling. I think this has just gone really dry and brittle, and also it's probably been knocked as well. So a combination of both of these means that this has come off, and what it means is that this radiator now is fully on. I can feel there's a lot of heat in here, so there's no control over this radiator. You could control it the old-fashioned way by just balancing in the other side of it, you know, the valve on the other side. So this is fully open, but then balance the other one. But it's quite nice to have the control of a thermostatic valve. Now if you have a look here, we're gonna, when we put the new one on, we're gonna put it all the way to 5, because look at this thing in the middle here. When we turn this, can you see it comes out? Yeah. So when it's basically at 0, it's there. And when we go all the way to 5, it goes in. So it's going to be easier to fit the new one when it's in, because then you're not going to be having to force this thing down here. I'm not 100% sure how this works. I was told years ago that it was wax, and when it heats up on the inside, the wax melts and then gives, which then allows this needle, you know, to go up when it gets to temperature. I don't know, I've never taken one of these apart. If you do know how they work, just put it down in the comments. These are basically just the cheapest ones that you can buy. So I don't know whether it varies between cheap ones and expensive ones. Now I went to Screwfix because obviously I don't want to get involved in having to change the whole valve over, because then it means I would have to drain everything down, and I don't want to do that. So I just went back to Screwfix where I bought this one, and luckily the one I bought was the cheapest one they had, and it looks to be the actual valve itself, the thermostatic bit itself looks to be exactly the same. So if you compare the two of them, can you see there? They look to be the same. But what I'm thinking is, even if they weren't the same, as long as they were to fit, I'm thinking that it would still work. It's just that maybe your room temperature normally is set to 2.5. Maybe it might be just set to 2 on the new one, or 3 on the new one, because maybe the distances might be different. So the inside of this does look different. That's the old one, and this is a new one, but look, the principle is the same. Can you see when I turn it, that bit comes out, and when I do it this way, that bit goes in. So I'm hoping that it's going to be, see, that's definitely on a spring, but this one here doesn't appear to give at all. Yeah, see, this one's rock solid. But I'm hoping after a bit of adjustment that I will be able to get this to where I want it to be. So let's put it to 5, so it's fully in. And if you have a look, the old one, can you see it's like a hexagon shape here? You can see there's little corners, and it's a hexagon here, so it can only fit on a certain way. We want to have the arrow facing us so we can read it. But if you go on, let's do it to 5. If you go on here, it's like either there or there, you know, it's only on the flats. So let's put it on the flats facing us here, so that feels nice there. And now let's just tighten this up. We're only going to do this hand tight, because otherwise we're going to end up stripping the inside of it. Well, basically that is it. That is on. Hold on. There we go. There we go. I'm happy with that. So now let's turn that. So now, in theory, when I go to there, it should be off. So that should have now forced down that middle pin. So I'm just going to have to monitor this now over the next few days and see where we are over it. I might just give that a tiny little turn, just with this. Okay, yeah, hopefully that will be it. Right, so if your ones fail, maybe it's not going to be such a big job. You could just go down to maybe Toolstation or Screwfix if in the UK, and then maybe bring your one down there, see if they will compare it against another one, or go to some sort of plumber's merchant or something, and hopefully it might be just a universal thing. If you know they're universal, add it to the comments, it will help out other people. And if you know how the insides work, again, add it to the comments and it will help other people out. So perhaps that could be a future video, seeing exactly how the inside of this works. Right, okay, let's move on to the next one. So in this one here, we're going to be doing this child CD player, and this is also like a slight kind of karaoke thing. Now basically my daughter's gone too old for this now, but we're about to give it to the charity shop. The problem is it's got a crackly volume, so if you listen to this, when I turn it on here, can you hear? Yeah. What I'm going to do is nice and simple. I'm going to take it apart, I'm going to get to the volume control, and I'm just going to clean it because it's just going to be dirty contacts. I'm just going to fast forward through all the dismantling. Okay, so this is it now, and the volume control is this side here. This is the microphone control, but that one seems to be okay because that one's rarely used. It's mostly the volume that's used. So I just need to undo a couple of screws here, take out this power adapter, and then, in fact I can take these out to give me a little bit more room. And then I'm just going to take out the actual potentiometer itself, and then I'm going to put some deoxit in it to clean it out. Okay, so if you have a look at this now, you can see that we have different wires here, and when we rotate this you can see that this is moving around. It's this part in here that I'd actually need to get into clean. And this is on really solid, so I don't really want to force it off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to first of all get some IPA and drip it in there,
Give it a turn quite a few times. Going to IPA it on both sides, and then we're going to put some of this deoxit in it to give it a nice good clean. That's what I'm using. I'm actually going to have to pour it because I can't actually get in there. There we go. Let's pop the batteries back in while it's apart and see if the noise is gone. Testing, 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 testing. Testing, testing, testing. Right, okay, well, that appears to be okay. I won't know until I put a CD in there just to see if the actual crackle's gone completely, because the mic is always at the same volume depending on what you do on the other switch. But I can't hear that crackle anymore. Right, I'm going to pop some deoxit in that. Right, hopefully that will have done it. Let's put it back together and see what it's like. Sounds absolutely perfect. Listen. So, fast forward it.
It wasn't Mr. Stink's fault that he stank. He was a tramp after all.
That is perfect.
Like you and me.
I don't think it's ever been that good.
The smell just got worse and worse. Mr. Stink was quite a snap.
Excellent, that's just an audio book. So now let's just double check the microphone here. Testing, 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 testing. Yeah, that's working absolutely fine. So hopefully now another little girl will go on to enjoy this. And yeah, let's move on to another one. This one is an electronic thermostat that should light up when you tap it, and as you can see it's very, very faded. So it just simply needs the batteries replacing. So on this side here we have a little indentation where we just need to pop in a screwdriver just to ease it out. So I'm going to pop the screwdriver in here, use a bit of force, and then ease it out like that. The whole thing just hinges out. And you can see we have two AA batteries. So let's replace these. It's clearly marked which way they go in there. There we go, and you can see now. Look at that, how bright it is. So now we clip on that side first, it's like on a hinge, and we just shove that in, and now look, you can see we've got the call for heat, and if we tap it, it should light up. There you go. So we can see now by changing the temperature here, by tapping each side. Nice and straightforward. Let's move on to the next one. Right, so this next one is a tape measure that a bit of a rookie mistake has been made on it. So I know with tape measures you should only pull them out so far, never pull them out to the very, very end. But my son was messing around with this and then he was like, Dad, it doesn't go back in. And the reason it doesn't go back in is because he's pulled it out as far as it can possibly go. So let's take this thing apart and let's see if we can get it to wind back up again. I'm going to be careful when this comes apart because obviously it's under a bit of tension, isn't it? Now, this one has never been apart before. I'm pretty sure, I do remember taking a tape measure apart years and years ago when the same thing happened, but I think a part had actually broken on the inside of it. Right, is that going to go, or do we have to undo that middle one? I think we have to undo this middle one as well. Right, easy now. I'm going to watch my face. I don't want a big spring in my face. Right, okay, so what have we got here? What have we got here? So let's take that off there. So we've got the coil there. Why is that not coiling back up? Oh, there you go. It's just caught here. Right, let me zoom in. Right, if you have a look here, this is the yellow tape. It goes in here. And can you see where the tape is connected via this thing? So it's just on a little split, basically, isn't it? So it must be put on kind of this way and then twisted this way. If you have a look, can you see? It's just trapped on there. So when you pull it out, it just kept hitting against there. So all I have to do is, I think, it's hit the bottom bit now. So I just have to get a screwdriver, ease that on, and keep my hand on here. Otherwise, it's just going to spin round like crazy. So I'm going to put this middle bit back on. Let's see, that must just go into its little home somewhere. Hold on. Well, actually, that doesn't seem to. Not sure if this fits on a certain way or not. Right, here goes. So I'm going to hold it with one hand, put it in there. There you go. Now it's going to go back in. Right, I think I'm going to try to get this back together. And zoom out. I think I'm going to try and get it back together before I let it go all the way in, because I might struggle otherwise. Now, I'm not sure which way that went in. I'm sure it went that way, but it doesn't seem to fit very nice in there. I'm going to put it in that way because I'm sure that's the way it came out, but I'll have to watch back the video at the end. And whoa. Right, okay. There we go. Excellent. And let's just see if this is working here. So let's pull it out and lock it. Right, so the lock's not working. Why's that lock not working? And it's not closing properly here either. Right, so I'm going to have to take it apart again. Should be okay now because it's all the way back in. Right, so why is that not locking? Oh, I've got it the wrong way. Right, so that's there. Let's see if that closes now. Right, it will, it's just that this thing here's all gone wrong. This bit of plastic at the end. There we go. Ooh, that was lucky. I thought I was going to lose that at one stage. Right, so that's out there, and lock it into place, and it locks into place. Excellent. Let's put the screws back in before it all comes apart. It's that one. It's only a very cheap tape measure, but still I've had it for years, so I'd like it if it would last another few. Excellent. One working tape measure. So let's put it nearly all the way out and make sure it goes back in. Right, so that's all the way out there. Yep. And it's going back in now. Perfect. Right, so that is it for this lot of fixes. As and when more and more things go faulty around the house, I will film them. Obviously things like this don't warrant their own repair video because they're simple fixes. Well, not all the time, but most of the time they're simple fixes. So I like to just put them together and then film them in one sort of longer video. So yeah, hopefully you found some of them interesting. I know some of them will be really easy and really obvious, but remember, it might not be obvious to everybody in the world. So that's it. If you got any enjoyment, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos. Take care. Bye now.